Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world.
Time! Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Taylor's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It is cold outside, but we're going to keep it warm in here. Appreciate you being with us on this Monday as we're crashing into the new year on this final week of 2025. Thank you for ever joining us. No matter where or how you're listening on one of our great affiliates like 97.7 ESPN, The Ref, always the right call. Down in Evansville, of course, the Fan up in Fort Wayne. 12:30 a.m. 104.7 FM WJOB, and on the Zone 98.7, the Zone in Bloomington. Welcome in. Appreciate you, man. What a change in weather we have had. Wow, from yesterday goes from 70 down to 19 was what I saw was going to happen. And actually, as I looked down, it did reach that. So cold outside, but it's going to be warm inside. Welcome. Appreciate you being with us. Like I said, lots to get to. The Fish will join me here shortly. Also on the dais, Rakestraw, Dustin, Dopirak, plenty to talk about. The Hoosiers have landed in Pasadena for Rose Bowl prep. That begins today. Of course, Coach Signetti would have liked to have gotten out there a little bit later. They had to deal with all that. They didn't want to get there this soon ahead of the game. But you got to do what you got to do. Whew, like trying to stay warm out here. Man, what a crazy switch in weather. Hope everyone stays healthy and doesn't get sick from any of this, because this is how you get sick. But it's too exciting out there right now for people to be getting sick, man. With so much going on, especially the Rose Bowl, Indiana playing Alabama this week on Thursday, to be specific. On the first, kickoff set for 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific out in Pasadena. And they've got all the stuff going on starting today. There will be more media. But we'll hear from Coach Signetti today. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer, Elijah Surratt, and also offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan as well. Yeah, it looks like it is going to rain out in SoCal. They've had a ton of rain too, and it looked like it was going to be beautiful. It had pushed off. The forecast was looking very, very nice. Unfortunately, not going to be the case. As but and how will that affect the game? Very good question. It's going to affect Indiana's passing game, probably. But Alabama has not had much of a running game. Does this help them? Hurt them? Indiana has. It's going to be something. I hope that the weather does not impact this game. That's the thing. It just, you get that far, you work that hard, and things that are outside of your control, that'll drive a man crazy having to deal with that. Speaking of a man, Coach Signetti and Kalen DeBoer, the two combatants going at it. Of course, Kalen DeBoer, familiarity with Indiana, having been the offensive coordinator few years back under Tom Allen. So that's going to be a unique storyline as well. Nick Sheridan, who is currently the co-offensive coordinator, also former offensive coordinator at Indiana, currently the co-offensive coordinator at Alabama, will be heading to Michigan State to coach under Mr. Pat Fitzgerald. And how about Kyle Whittingham to Michigan? Who saw that coming? I don't think he saw it coming. I wonder, is that why? I don't think that's why he resigned or retired. But we don't know. Or I don't know. But a very, very wise move and shrewd on his part, as he now is heading up. And Michigan desperately needed someone like Kyle Whittingham, who is on the complete up and up. They need someone to clean that program up. And he's a good one for that. Yep. You got Kane Womack on there. Yep. I was just talking about the fact that Nick Sheridan is heading to Michigan State. But yeah, a lot of crossover in this game. Not only Kane Womack, but you still have the strength coach down there, I believe, as well. So a lot of crossover in this game. But Indiana getting to play another blue blood of sorts, basically. Not of sorts, but Alabama is a blue blood. And the ability, or the opportunity rather, to be able to put that one up on the rack as well, another notch, would just be adding to the legacy of this Indiana football team. Appreciate everybody joining us on the Andy Moore hotline as well. Make sure you head out to Andy Moore Honda if you're looking for a vehicle. And if you're coming to Bloomington, you're in Bloomington, heading out for a game, head to Dave & Buster's. They've got specials for all IU games. Rose Bowl, they'll have $10 wings, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas. It's a great place to catch the game. With family or friends, they've got 3 gigantic wall TVs, over 20 other gigantic wall screen TVs. Plan your next watch party or birthday party at Dave & Buster's. Sunday is fun day with half price of all games. Diego Pavia and crew are also at it. They're trying to, in case his NFL career doesn't pan out, which I kind of chuckle at a bit, because I don't know how I guess I'm not going to doubt somebody that, because if you work hard enough, sometimes you can just overcome anything. I don't see how he's going to overcome his height disadvantage, but he wouldn't be the first as a quarterback. But Pavia's group, they're suing for potentially another year of eligibility. That's right. A lawyer for Heisman Trophy runner-up Diego Pavia and 26 football players, he's not the only one here, has cited the NCAA's decision to allow an NBA draft pick to return to college basketball as a reason that a federal judge should let his clients play in 2026 and 2027. Now, I will say this is the NCAA. I have no idea what the hell they are doing. Although Pavia plans to enter the NFL draft, which apparently that doesn't matter for anyone anymore. You can enter anything you want. And hell, you might be able to play 5 years in a pro league and get drafted or get eligibility. The lawsuit, which challenges the NCAA rule that counts seasons spent at junior colleges against players' eligibility for Division I football. First of all, I'm still not understanding how you can sue someone for their rule if they stick to that rule. There's the rub. That's the problem. The NCAA doesn't stick to anything. on Wednesday, Baylor announced that 7-foot center James Najee had joined the Bears after 4 seasons playing professionally in Europe, a span that included Najee being drafted number 31 by the Detroit Pistons in the NBA draft. His rights were traded to Charlotte and later the New York Knicks. Attorney Ryan Downton seized on that news in a memorandum filed Friday in a Tennessee federal court to support his antitrust lawsuit against the NCAA. He is asking U.S. District Judge William Campbell to block the NCAA from enforcing eligibility rules. First of all, I no longer know how they have eligibility rules. I really don't. We'll get back to that later. Don will join us next. Let's go ahead and take a break. Get ready for him. Plenty coming up on this day. Appreciate you being with us. Hello, B-Town. Back with more right after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. I hope you're doing well. Man, I hope you're staying warm right now, to be honest with you, because ain't no lying. It's cold out there after the warmth that we had been able to experience. Man, it is gone. Indiana football has landed out in Pasadena, and Kalen DeBoer, coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, former OC at Indiana. And he's got a few staffers there as well. Let's hear what Kalen had to say in preparation ahead of this game.
Yeah, good afternoon. And just, excited about this opportunity to be in the Rose Bowl special event and a big-time game. I know our guys are excited. We got 15 California football players on our team that excited to go play closer to home, and even more from the West Coast. So that's one piece of it, but obviously the game itself and what it means, and our opportunity to continue to take the next step. But we understand we got a great football team with Indiana. Coach Signetti, just what he's done is amazing here these last 2 years. Just building the program as quickly as he's done to the level it's at. And really looking forward to us diving back into our process here the next 10 days or so, just getting back to work. Really important days. I thought we did a great job from the SEC championship to the first round game in a lot of ways, whether it's the preparation. I got to give a tip of the hat to our training staff and our doctors, Jeff Allen, who runs our training room downstairs with his staff. An amazing job, just putting people together and getting guys as healthy as they could have. Dr. Kane, Dr. Waldrop, Dr. Stewart. We just got a top tier group, and I know there's even more, but just everything they did to get our guys to where they played fast and we're as healthy as we've been in a long time. So need that again here the next 10 days on the speed part. I mean, our guys, Coach Ballou, I need to give him credit to, our head strength coach. We had as many guys hit their top speeds as we have since the Tennessee game, and that's tied for the most over 20 miles an hour all year. So it's great to have more players playing fast in the big moments, but looking forward to the challenge. Our guys are as well.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up a teleconference for questions. Please.
There's Coach DeBoer and his opening words about Indiana and this Rose Bowl game. You heard him mention Coach, his strength coach there, and talking about the speed. And I remember them developing that way back in the day. Just odd to hear that has moved on, but stayed. Wise move for him to keep all those guys. And I'm wondering if, I said Don was going to join us, and he normally does, but I'm wondering now. I didn't get word, but he may be traveling today, because I know the team traveled and they are out in California. And of course, that changes the times on things. So we'll see how that works out. But Kyle Whittingham heading to Michigan. That's going to change things in the Big Ten next year. I think it's a good thing. You've got Pat Fitzgerald now at Michigan State. That's a good thing. I think the Big Ten needs to get the Big Ten has to rev itself up to stay to keep up with the Joneses, more or less. That's just a matter of fact. As we saw this year, the Big Ten is uber strong at the top again, with the two teams that are picked first and second likely to win the national championship. Doesn't mean that's going to happen, but Indiana, of course, a number one pick. Ohio State is right there to win the national championship. Oregon, you've got to give them a pretty good daggone shot to win it as well. Not the only one, of course, Georgia. Don, I know you've been working hard, and this is a crazy, crazy week because of the Rose Bowl, so I didn't know if you were going to make it on with us or not, but when do you leave for Pasadena?
Today.
Well, that makes that quick and easy. So
that's why I just saw your note that you'd sent me a link, so I thought we had talked about this last week, but it's not a big deal.
If it did, I apologize. No worries. But glad to have you along. How is your prep going for Pasadena?
Well, we're ready to go. Obviously, we packed up most everything yesterday, or at least I got it out. It's not in the suitcase yet. So at any rate, no, we're ready to go. My prep work is, for the most part, is done, which, we have to do this kind of stuff in advance anyway. In fact,
you're right.
I've got a lot of my work done for the next two basketball games already done too. So because this is such a busy time. And of course, we're going to be out in Pasadena for 4 days, I guess, 5, including the takeoff after we play the ball game on January 1st, on January the 2nd. So at any rate, it is what it is. And it's a fun time of year without question about that. And of course, it's the holidays. So everybody's kind of enjoying what they're experiencing right now.
Absolutely. And again, I hope you and your family had a great holiday season. The football team is they're headed out there. I think they get out there already, or about now. If they're not already, I know they have obligations that they have to go through, which I'm sure makes Kurt Cignetti very happy to deal with.
No, it does not.
No, I know he would have liked to have gotten there probably 2 or maybe 3 days from now. like they did when they played UCLA. And I wonder how they're going to, they got to deal with this stuff. And it really changes what they have done and how they have done things before and how they're able to mitigate that.
Well, here's the problem. If the university gets fined if they don't show up when they're supposed to show up, which is today. So there's no question the university has to inform the coach and the players that this is the way it's being done with the college football playoff. It's not just the Rose Bowl people, it's the college football playoff people that make these designations and what they have to do. So that's what we're dealing with at this point. And Sig would prefer to be flying in there late on December the 31st and play the ball game and come home that night after the ball game. So that's not going to take place, at least from a going perspective. I think the team may come home right after the ball game on January the 2nd. They'll make that long flight home. The rest of us that are part of the administration and the plane that will go out there, as far as IU is concerned, we leave today as well, but we'll come back on the 2nd. So, and that's fine, because the football team itself, these guys need to be on an airplane and not being packed in there like we've been packed for most of the road games that we go on during the season.
Yeah, the weather is going to hopefully not impact the game, but it's definitely going to be impactful. Of course, right here alone, we went from 70 degrees yesterday and a 51-degree drop overnight, which was nothing I've experienced in my lifetime that big. But then I think it looked like the rain was going to hold off out in Southern California, but I'm not sure that it's going to, Don. And it's been wet out there, and it stopped raining, but now if it comes back in, you wonder how's that going to impact this game.
Well, it will impact the game. There's no question if it does rain, and the forecast looks like it's going to. 95% chance of rain on game day. I think it moved from 80% at one point, maybe a week ago, or maybe 3 or 4 days ago, all the way up to 95 now on game day, January 1st. So take your umbrella if you're going out to Pasadena, because I think it's supposed to rain the day before as well on December 31st. So it's going to be wet probably. You'd love for it to dry up just enough so they could get the ball game in without that being a factor, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen. So at this point, you just get ready for whatever is there, and you play the football game. And here's the thing. Alabama's a really good football team. There's no question about that. I just think Indiana's the better football team at this point, and I'm excited about what we're going to see. I think Indiana is very capable of making this all the way to the national championship ball game if they play up to expectations. And the biggest question mark is how they've handled this 3.5 weeks and leading up to the ball game without a ball game, the rust, those kind of things that people get concerned about. And I know Coach has had his plan all the way through. He knew how long this was going to be, what kind of a break it was going to be for his team. And they've utilized that to get injuries healed up and those kinds of things. So I think it's a healthy football team, if nothing else. And the question is, do they get off to the kind of start that they hope to in this game, because they haven't played for 3.5 weeks?
Yeah, definitely always worried about rust. Offensively, they seem like they're pretty healthy and have everybody back there ready to go. Right. And so that should be something, a very positive sign, especially when it comes to the offensive line, because they had gotten down where they were rotating guys in and dealing with some nicky-nacky injuries. Defensively, pretty good as well, except for one big major exception, of course, with Stephen Daly. But other than that, which is a big fat, but I think Bryant Haynes has done such an amazing job all year long. Obviously, he will continue to scheme around that particular issue as well.
Well, that's what he's good at. This guy finds ways to, kind of cover where your struggles have been. And this spot has been questionable throughout the year. Kellen Wyatt was the starter for the first half of the season, did a great job at that location. And then Stephen Daly took his place when Kellen got knocked out for the rest of the year with his injury. And Stephen Daly was remarkable. I mean, he did as good a job as Kellen did And I think at one point was leading the nation in tackles for loss and maybe even sacks. I don't remember if that's a part of it. But all I can tell you at this point is Brian Haynes is a magician when it comes to defensive coordination and finding ways to cover up the weak spots, so to speak. And then on top of that, the guy that's going to take his place, or guys, because we won't know exactly who's going to be in that position at this point. I think they're just going to do a tremendous job of figuring out what they can do and how they can do it best. And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, the good thing for Indiana, Don, is Alabama has been searching for a run game because they've needed that, but they have not been uber successful at it. And that plays right into this defense. What they have done so well this year is kind of eat that run game up. Obviously, Alabama, a huge challenge. They've got gigantic athletes. There was a board put out, a graphic a while back that I wish you would have seen, and I wish I would have it at hand, but it showed the star rankings of the recruits. Oh, yeah. You see that? Yeah. And Indiana had they're not even in the same ballpark, allegedly, by the rankings. So it's just amazing to see how this works out. But it's just the coaching has been so phenomenal, and we've heard even other coaches talk about it. Matt Rule he's like, dude, they're making us look bad, and they are, but because they're doing what nobody else can do. But I don't think a lot of people outside understand that this staff has been together for so long, and the continuity, it means a ton because they're good.
Well, the continuity aspect of it is crucial. There's no doubt. And here, how crucial is it? Well, look what they've done with Mike Shanahan and with Brian Haynes from a perspective of giving them raises to a point now where if you're going to come and get one of those guys, you're going to be paying a bundle of money to get one of them at this juncture. Indiana has done what they had to do to keep these guys, and that tells you how valuable these guys are. So this is a really good staff. There's no doubt about that. Signetti, I think, is on top of it in every way, shape, and form. One of the great vetters of all time. This guy vets everybody that comes into his program, and then he tries to keep those guys if he finds that they're as valuable as he thought they were. And obviously he's been able to do that.
Coaches try to talk about this is the next game, Don. How do you approach things? This is a huge game, obviously, but your approach, how do you take this? Is this like an NCAA tournament game? How do you approach it?
You mean from my perspective?
Yeah, in your preparation. Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't look ahead. I never have looked ahead. You got to take care of business. And here's the thing about it. I look ahead in the sense that you can prepare certain things. You can maybe look at the roster of the other team, that kind of thing, and maybe go from what they've done all season long, look at the participation sheets from some of their previous ball games to figure out who's going to be on the field for the most part, because we don't get a lot of information like we used to. The one thing about Alabama, they do supply a 2 deep in their package, their game notes, which really helped me get started on that prep. So I got started on them a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, actually. So that's a big part of it. And the other aspect of it too is from a prep standpoint, at this juncture, we're just looking to see if anybody's hurt from the other team as best we can, judge that kind of thing. If they supply you with a 2 deep, which Alabama does, then you can kind of pick up and see, look, well, maybe they're fooling us here because this guy was out, now he's back, or maybe this guy isn't back yet. They've got somebody else in that role. So from a prep standpoint, you're just reading everything you can get your hands on, every bit of game notes that you can get a hold of, and get as much prepared from that standpoint of knowledge of that other team as you possibly can.
That's about all you can do. Don Fischer doing it as he does best. Appreciate you, sir. Safe travels. Is the wife going out enjoying some SoCal?
Yeah,
good.
The lady is going with me, so that'll be fun. There's no doubt about that. And
somebody's got to keep you in. Somebody's got to keep you in check out there.
Well, somebody does all the time. Even if it's not her, somebody's sitting there going, Fisher, don't do that.
Don, I can't thank you enough, sir. Appreciate you, sir. Safe travels.
All right. Thanks, Jim. See ya.
Thank you. Absolutely. Don Fischer joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday, kicking things off. It is Rose Bowl week, Rose Bowl prep for the Indiana Hoosiers as they are prepping for the Alabama Crimson Tide out in Pasadena for what looks like it might be a soggy Rose Bowl. Let's hope not, man. But looking like that's going to be the case, man. But what are you going to do? You got to play. You got to play the game. Got to play the hand that's dealt you, and we'll see it. It's going to be the same for both teams, at least in that regard. But daggone, I just hate to see weather change how a game turns out. But it's going to be a good one no matter what. Alabama is a tough team. They're a great second half team. They don't quit, and those are dangerous teams. That's the thing you got to face. So let's take a quick break. Greg Rakestraw will join us next. Appreciate you being with us. We're back with more right after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Thanks a lot for being with us. I hope you are staying warm. Greg Rakestraw from the ISB Sports Network joining us now. And I know you have a busy weekend as always. I got to catch you at post-game coach yesterday. Tag on it, man. They were working it, man. They tried and tried, and I heard you talk about it afterwards that they fought hard and they did, just could not get it done, and did about as all they could do, it seemed like, with what they have at the moment.
It's a good way to put it. And again, for the problems that the Indianapolis Colts have, and I'm not trying to paint too rosy of a picture here, there are some issues this team has to deal with. Like, having your starting quarterback, the guy you had the first half of the season that you think is the quarterback of the future, that, he's coming off an Achilles tear. You hope he's ready for training camp and he's your best option at the position. When that's your positive outlook, you're kind of in a tough spot. But let's also acknowledge how good the teams the Colts have played are, down the stretch of the season. I mean, my goodness, after the Niners put up 48 here on Monday, they put up 42 on a playoff team at home. Nearly lost, but put up 42, last night. And given how the chips will likely fall, the last 6 games the Indianapolis Colts will have played will be against teams that have won at least 12 games. I mean, that is a brutal finishing stretch. So are there concerns? Yes. Are there things you have to fix? Yes. Are there question marks that I'm not sure there are answers for? Yes. But they also have played a rugged schedule ever since they got off the bye week. And when your, air quotes, worst loss of the season is to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime in Kansas City, maybe it's an indication of you played some pretty good teams during the course of the year. And unfortunately, the Indianapolis Colts right now are just a little bit of a tick below that.
Yeah, I was also able to catch Matt on some of the broadcasts of the game, and when Jonathan Taylor scored, I heard him mention that he's one of only 4 players in NFL history now to score 18 rushing touchdowns in multiple seasons, and the other 3 guys are in this big old building called the Hall of Fame.
Right. And JT has had a very good year. Obviously, his production is curtailed over the last 5 or 6 weeks. In Jacksonville, held him 21 carries and 70 yards. And so he's not been clipping off those 100-yard performances in multiple touchdown games. Part of that is, I think, the wear and tear of the season. Part of that is having some changes in the offensive line in front of him. Part of that is playing really good defenses over the course of the last few weeks. But at the end of the day, Jonathan, and I'm not sure what his status is going to be for Sunday. You wonder now that you have a full week of preparation to know this is your last game of the season, versus where you found out at 7:30 on Saturday night that the 1 o'clock game on Sunday was not going to have playoff implications. Basically, that die was cast at that point for what your game plan was going to look like yesterday. In other words, Jim, this is my way of saying I'm not sure how much of JT we're going to see on Sunday. You know, DJ Giddens is a guy they were very high on that they drafted out of Kansas State. He has barely played this year. He was oftentimes a healthy scratch. He was in uniform yesterday, but, you know, Amir Abdullah got the handful of snaps that Jonathan didn't. And of all the things we talk about with Jonathan Taylor this year, his amazing durability, the fact that he was out there every week, and without having looked up this stat, Jim, I would venture to guess that JT played more than 90% of the available offensive snaps this year. For a running back, that's insane. That doesn't happen. And so we'll see if there's a –
That's why running backs have a life expectancy of like 3.5 years.
Right, and he's now completing year number 6. And this in 2021 are clearly his best 2 years in the National Football League.
It's pretty amazing, though, that this is one of his best years ever, though.
I would say that, in other words, you've seen enough of Jonathan Taylor this year. You know what you have in Jonathan Taylor. In a game that means nothing to you.
Right.
If he doesn't play on Sunday, I'm cool with that. Give Amir Abdullah some touches in case this is his last game in the National Football League. He's been a great, in-season locker room find. But if you want to reward Tyler Goodson for his hard work on special teams and playing through an elbow injury, if you want to see what you have in DJ Giddens, in other words, and this is a game I know very well, treat it like a preseason game. Get some guys out there, get some guys some experience, let some guys get some reps on tape. If there are guys that you think are not going to be back next year, let them kind of have a send-off and try to stay as healthy as you can heading into the offseason.
Where do the Colts go from here looking, not next week, not towards the rest of the season, but I know that they have a guy that they think is their future, but those Achilles tears,
right,
tough.
Right. And again, he's your best option. It's a different question because of not having a first-round draft pick. You roll the dice, you go all in on Sauce Gardner, you trade your next 2 first-round draft picks, you win the first game with him, and you don't win again since. And so snake eyes is what you kind of rolled with that, at least temporarily. Now, this is not a rent-a player. You've got Sauce under contract through 2029. Maybe even 2030. Frankly, his really inflated salary doesn't kind of kick in for a year or two. So it's not the end of the world, but you have a first-round draft pick, which kind of forces your hand, frankly, on Daniel Jones as to what you're going to do. I think basically the same 3 quarterbacks that aren't high school football coaches in Alabama are the 3 coaches that are back next year. It's why I want to see Riley Leonard on Sunday, just so you get him some more game reps, so he is ready in case needed. I'd love to see Anthony Richardson play. I don't think he's going to be healthy enough to play at this point. I don't think the Colts will throw him out there on Sunday afternoon. But Jim, where they go is going into an offseason where they don't have a first-round pick. They do have cap space, and I think in terms of their own free agents, they will prioritize. I think Daniel Jones is one. I do think that Daniel Jones, because of the injury, probably saved the Colts some money in terms of what he is going to make and length of contract. The guy that will probably get the largest contract and longest duration of it is Alec Pierce. He's been tremendous for a second consecutive year. Should lead the league in average yards per reception for a second consecutive year. And I think he is going to sign a long-term deal. After that, if the money is right, you look at bringing Nick Cross back. There are probably some veterans that you're going to let go. Braden Smith has been here for 8 years, but again, you drafted Jalen Travis kind of to be his replacement. He's played.
Has he been at Purdue that long?
What's that?
Has he been at Purdue that long?
Different Braden Smith, a little bit larger, kind of similar facial hair, but you get the idea. We will be down to one Braden Smith that we'll kind of reference more often than not in terms of local athletes. Samson Ebicom, Tyquan Lewis, Kwity Paye, you probably all let walk. Rodney Thomas, who's a backup safety, you'll let walk. Next year is the year at the end of the season where, frankly, a lot of the deals that Chris Ballard did 2 years ago were set to expire when Anthony Richardson's rookie contract ended after year 4 with the option of picking up year number 5, which, I don't think the Colts will do at this juncture. And so you have a lot of salary cap money that comes off the books at the end of 2026. Again, you'll not have a draft pick in the first round in 2027. And so, again, a lot of those things I'm telling you, Jim, indicate that you're going to see a lot of the same names and faces back here next year from a player standpoint. And now we'll see if that leads to same names and faces back from a GM and coach standpoint.
Yeah, that and a lot of people are asking a lot of questions, and
Sure.
I get it because the Colts have. I heard you going down the lineup of how long it's been since they've made the playoffs, since they won the division, and I'm like, golly, you don't realize it's been that long. With a franchise that had this much success, boy, they have really been stuck on the other side of that for a while.
Yeah, and again, for those that had not been keeping track of those things, 11 years since you last won the AFC South, 7 years since you last won a playoff game, 5 years since you've appeared in a playoff game. And those are not good numbers for anybody involved. Here's what I can tell you, and I think this is more good news than bad. If you look at this team, again, assuming you bring back Alec Pierce, I think it's a no-brainer. Assuming you bring back Daniel Jones, close to a no-brainer. And knowing that you've got the salary cap room to basically sign both of those guys. You only have to replace one starter on offense, and it's your right tackle. Again, I think you've got that guy. Nelson, you extended Ryman before the season began. Bordellini and Gonzalez are on rookie deals. Michael Pittman has one more year. Josh Downs has one more year under contract. Obviously, Tyler Warren, you just drafted. JT is still under contract. In other words, you don't have to go out and get a bunch of guys on offense. You've got your offense pretty well set. And when Daniel Jones was healthy, you had one of the best offenses in the National Football League. So I think you know what you have on one side of the football. On defense, you got to find a way to get better, and you will change some of the pieces. And while you don't have a first-round pick, you can focus most of your defensive draft picks on guys that can help you immediately. The other question mark is, Jim, there are 2 players under contract that we're not exactly sure what next year is going to look like for them. And one is DeForest Buckner, who has obviously been here for 6 years, has been tremendous, has been remarkably healthy. The last couple of years, the wear and tear has started to catch up. He's about to have a neck procedure. And after 10 years in the National Football League, I'm not sure if I'm having a neck procedure if I really want to come back and play. As much as DeForest Buckner loves to play and as good as a player as he is, so you're not sure what his status would be for next year. If he doesn't come back, that is a significant chunk of change that comes out of the salary cap. The same can be said for Charvarius Ward. Charvarius was brought on a free agent deal and suffered 3 different concussions or had to deal with concussion symptoms on 3 different times. He is a veteran. I want to say without looking it up, he's in year 7 or year 8. He also lost a child last year when he was playing with San Francisco. And so at some point in time, you go, hey, do I need to step away from this and just focus on me and my family? And there's bigger things than football for him. If he does that, again, it's more, chunk of a salary cap you get back. But if both guys come play, like, all right, there's the 2 veterans that you kind of know what you have in those guys. So this is going to be so maddening and so frustrating for Colts fans to hear. But I think it's the God's honest truth. I don't think this team is that far away. But If you don't like the way this year ended, you're going to see a lot of the same names back next year just because it's kind of the salary cap position that the Indianapolis Colts are in.
Yeah, and they were going, everything was going fine until the injuries started hitting.
Right. And
obviously,
again, every team deals with injuries. And the example of timing is everything in life is the San Francisco 49ers. Their injuries happened early in the year. They were kind of maintaining status quo with Mac Jones as the quarterback and not Brock Purdy. And now they look like a Joe Montana or Steve Young-led offense. Their punter has punted twice in December. And that was kind of what we said about Rigoberto Sanchez in September. Timing is everything in life. I don't think the Colts' schedule is as arduous next year as it was this year in terms of caliber of team, in terms of the amount of travel. As of now, it looks like the furthest west the Indianapolis Colts will play a football game will be Kansas City or Houston next year. Schedule is much more compact. So, again, I get it. For all the reasons we gave in terms of years since the Colts have done this, people are tired of excuses. I get it. But I do think the circumstances for 2026 are not as dire as things may seem at the end of 2025.
Well, let's certainly see and hope that things do get turned around. I know on the other side of your work schedule, basketball, not the busiest time of year, but it doesn't stop. But it doesn't stop. It never stops.
Everybody, much like in college hoops, everybody has an MTE at this point. Everybody plays in a holiday tournament from a high school basketball standpoint. So we at ISC have 24 games the next 2 days. I'll call 5 of them. So I have a triple header at North Central starting today at 3:15, Pike North Central. I'm sorry, Park Tudor North Central, Pike Lake Central, and Carmel and Jeffersonville. And good on Sharon Wilkerson. Jeffersonville is nowhere near the team they have been the last couple of years. But Sharon has kept what is a statewide and largely Indianapolis schedule because he knows that's what makes you better. So the next couple of days would be one of the 5 trips that Jeffersonville will make to the Indianapolis area to play games this year. They also will play host to, and they just played host to Lawrence Central and gave them the most lopsided loss of the season on Saturday. They'll play host to Lawrence North this coming Saturday. So good on Jeffersonville for understanding, hey, if you want to compete at a statewide level at 4A, you got to get your butt to Indianapolis when the schedule allows you to, and they are still doing that. Carmel is really good. They're 5-0. They're back to being one of the better teams in the state after a couple of pretty mediocre years by their standards. So that game is at 6:45 tonight. Then tomorrow, I'll head up to Kokomo for the third place and championship games of the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament at Memorial Gym. Best teams involved in that one are Lawrence North and Northridge, which are both top 10 teams and could see each other in a championship game tomorrow night at 7:45.
Has some of these teams already separated themselves from the rest?
Not this year. That's what's great about this year, Jim.
Awesome.
The team that has the highest ceiling is Pike. I think they are the most talented team 1 through 12. They are 5-1. Their one loss was to Wisconsin Lutheran. So not obviously a team from Indiana. And frankly, Pike's schedule is very backloaded. Like they are set to play Fischer's coming up in a couple of weeks. Now, asterisk, Fischer's without Jason Gardner. Jason broke his left hand. Probably be back at some point in time late January. And again, this was the year where Fischer's did not have the depth to suffer an injury like that. Fischer's host their own holiday tournament coming up Friday and Saturday. Lawrence Central is one of the headlining teams that'll be in that event coming up this weekend. But I think Pike is the best, but it doesn't mean they're unbeatable. And once you get past them, Crown Point, Lawrence North, Carmel, they're to me the next group. I'd put South Bend St. Joe, who's playing up from 3A in that group. And you got to put Mount Vernon in that group, even though maybe their talent falls off significantly from 2 to 3, but they by far have the best player in Luke Erdel. He is Mr. Basketball, and you can debate it. You'd be wrong, but you can debate it if you want to. But for example, they just went 4-1 this week because after playing Tuesday in Newcastle and getting beat by Crown Point 60-56, they then went to Homestead, which had a really good field Friday and Saturday, and they won that tournament. And Ertl has another Division I player with him in Max Weiss, who is a 6'8 junior. I think he's probably MAC Valley Horizon League level of talent. And after that, just a bunch of really good kids that are nice high school players and are good athletes and kind of know where to be, and they play off of Luke Ertl. So you got to put Mount Vernon in that discussion as well. But Jim, it's a year of parity, but not mediocrity. There are some really good teams, but I'm not sure there's a super team this year, this month, Jim.
That's great to hear because that, like everything else, it just makes it much more fun, whether you're talking about Bloomington or Evansville or Fort Wayne, Southern Indiana, Northern Indiana.
I will tell you this, Jim. I don't think there's a great team in Southern Indiana this year. Like obviously Jeffersonville was a state caliber team, and I thought they were the one team that could beat Fischer's, and they did in the state championship game. However, there is a chance that we go the other direction and crown a state champion from far northern Indiana. It has been since '94 the last time that we had a largest classification champion from South Bend. That was South Bend Clay. And off the top of my head, I want to say it was 02 Gary Westside the last time that we had a 4A champion from the region. And again, Crown Point is good enough where you could potentially have a team because they play 9. Dikembe Shaw is going to play at UIC as their best player. Mason Darrell going to go to Bellarmine off of that team. Pretty solid player. But again, that's kind of indicative of this year. You know, Ertl is the one guy that you go, hey, that's a major college level talent. Noah Smith from Plainfield's going to go to DePaul. Plainfield's got a pretty good team. They've done some really good things in terms of whom they have beaten so far. So they need to be in that conversation too. But I've got 7 or 8 teams in 4A. I can make a case winning a state championship. I think that's a pretty good thing for everybody involved.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like a blast. That sounds like things are going to be fun in March, baby.
Hope so. Certainly hope so.
Well, I hope you stay warm this week, bro, because somebody turned the heat off last night.
I got lucky. I beat the storms home from Lucas Oil and I have to take an extra jacket. Waking up this morning, completely different story.
I tell you, Greg Rakestraw from the ISC Sports Network. Make sure you're checking them out and keeping up with all the great content they've got going with the great games. Greg, I appreciate you as always, sir.
See you, buddy.
Have a great one. Greg Rakestraw joining us here on Indiana Sports Speed Radio. Man, what a great Monday. Great weekend, catching things up. High school or basketball getting back at it. It never stops, like you just heard from Greg, but slows down a little bit, but lots of holiday tournaments. Man, lots of scores to see all around, just tons and tons. Get out and support your high school sports, bro. It is rolling on as the basketball season is hot and heavy now. But we've still got football. Indiana, they're in Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl prep begins for the Hoosiers today as they arrive to meet their obligations that are required. As you heard earlier, these are requirements by the CFP and all of that. So not what Kurt Signetti would like to be doing. He likes to do things, you know, how they do them. He calls them business trips. They show up, they play the game and get out of Dodge. Not quite going to be that way this week, unfortunately, as the Hoosiers have to arrive today, which is 4 days ahead of the game. Not going to like that. Plus, you've got the time change and all that. But if you're going to travel that far, some people would ask, is it more beneficial? I say no if you get there late like Indiana normally does, but we'll see. Hopefully it works out perfectly. We've got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Speed Radio. It's Jim Coyle. Dustin Dopirak will join us. We're back with more after these messages. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Monday. Glad to have you along, and our friend Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with us as well, the Pacers beat writer. Keeping you busy, I'm quite certain, without question, but I also see the tree behind you. Is it, you already taking decorations down, man?
No. We're not even we're not back in Indy yet. So
oh, good.
Yeah. No, so this is the basement of the in-laws. So yeah.
Still celebrating.
Yeah, we're not taking anything down. That's just the this is the less decorated portion of the place. So but our stuff's still up. We aren't gonna be able to do that till we get back to Indy.
The less decorated part of
the no, this is less decorated part of the house,
No, I know. If that's not, if you're a husband, that's not what you want to hear. If there's many rooms that are decorated, this is just the less decorated portion.
It's nice. That means lots of nice work. Having everything decorated at home.
It is. It is. Just I'm talking about the work.
Yeah,
the work it takes putting it up and down.
Yeah, there's that part. So
absolutely,
we'll get to that. We're
after your holidays.
What's up?
How were your holidays?
Good. Yeah. I mean, had to run back and forth a little bit. Had to go back to Indy for the game on Friday. But had to keep tabs on what the Pacers are up to, but otherwise been able to, run around and, see a lot of my wife's family and stuff like that. They spend a lot of time up here, and, it's been a lot of fun, to get to see everybody and hang out and everything and get some chill out time toward the end of the year. So it's been good. How about you?
I cannot complain. Nobody wants to listen to it. So, but no, seriously, it was great. Got to spend a lot of time with Kylie, which is always fun. So great times. So I appreciate you asking. It's just, but I will say that I didn't get my order in for heat, I guess, because man, oh man, did the bottom drop out, baby. But we knew it was coming. I've never experienced a 51-degree drop in temperature. And actually, it was more than that because it looked like it went all the way down to 16 this morning at some point.
Yeah, it's wild. I did not expect this. It was in the 60s in South Bend yesterday, and it is, it's covered outside right now. I don't know how bad it is in Bloomington or how bad it is in Indy, but there's like 1 to 3 inches outside. I'm like, I didn't expect this. I didn't bring boots
of ice.
Yeah. Oh, you guys got ice? We got snow.
It just rained.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Storms come through. I mean, you had tornado warnings, and knowing it's going to drop down to 19 within several hours. It's just crazy time really here, baby.
Yeah, it's really something. So
it's crazy. We've got that going on. We've got Rose Bowl action going on. It's nuts. And then we've got the Pacers as well. The Pacers and the Colts kind of in the same position right now, man. Things were going so well, and then similar injuries. Just
bottom falls out. Another Achilles tendon tear. It's a cursed city in terms of that particular injury. Quarterback and your point guard in the same calendar year, like that's really the fates are after you in that particular case.
Has the Achilles injuries become the ACLs of the 80s? Remember back then, man, you had to pull that surgery. You'd have a scar that was 1.5 foot long. It would take forever to get back until the medicine changed. But now it seems like these Achilles injuries nonstop with various people.
Yeah, obviously it's always been there. I think there's more wear and tear on the body. I think there's more wear and tear on the muscles. I don't know. It seems like there is advancements. I think you hear Rick Carlisle talk about this, and you've seen, obviously, like the Pacers had 2 guys go through Achilles last year. Certainly they were lesser known players in Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman, but we were kind of seeing that in the background and seeing these guys progress and getting a sense of what it looks like. Now you're getting a sense of what it looks like with Halliburton. Obviously he's, been warming up at games lately, taking shots and stuff like that. So, it's nice if you go to a game early, you can see him warm up and get the sense that, hey, he's going to be okay, at some point. Now the difference is that there's, it is one of those injuries that even when you're recovered, you're not really recovered. Like Isaiah Jackson's recovered, but he's not really recovered. Like it's the muscle's fine. But it's still like getting your body back to trusting itself, back to being itself, back to the same wind. Like you undergo a transformation. Like Tyrese Halliburton looks different right now. Like that's kind of a weird thing to like just physically top to bottom looks different. Because part of it is you can't run for how long. You put weight on. Like these guys are used to having metabolisms that just rip through everything. And suddenly it's different. Isaiah Jackson put he said, he's like, man, I was heavy. He's like, I got fat and, it was weird. And so I had to put, take it off, and he's more muscular now. And that'll probably be something that Halliburton gets, is that he'll put muscle on. He's needed that, like he looks bigger, he's just oddly shaped considering what you're used to seeing him. And, he's going to melt that off. Like whatever he adds, he's going to melt off, and there's going to be some muscle that stays, but he's going to get used to.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself, Dustin.
What's up?
That's what I keep telling myself.
Same. No. Yeah. But I don't know. So it's a weird injury. I think, it's just the way it is, where it is, what it does. It's still in a place where even for all the advancements have been made with both that injury and with the ACL, it's still something that just lays you low for a while, and it just takes you out. And, no matter how, advanced they are with the surgery, no matter how, again, they went, both, I presume Daniel Jones went to the same place to get a surgery done that Tyrese Halliburton did. They probably flew him out to New York to, I think it's Martin. Shoot. It's the same guy. It's the same name as the guy who ran for president from Maryland. Marty McNeely, I can't remember. But same name, different guy. And, so he, basically they took care of, Wiseman, they took care of Jackson, they took care of Tatum, he took care of Halliburton. So I presume Daniel Jones went to the same place. And so this guy's obviously advanced. You get you in there as soon as he possibly can. And he's apparently money with this surgery, and they're they're definitely coming around faster, but it still hasn't advanced the same way that the ACL has. That those used to be blow you out. You're not playing again injuries, and now obviously everybody that gets one is back in 8 months or so. So Achilles is getting there, but you still need a year until you're capable, basically.
But we have seen, the good news is when you see someone like Aaron Rodgers go down, who is, age challenged when it comes to sports.
Sure.
He's in his 40s, but he's able to come back and successfully play quarterback in the NFL. That's good news.
Yeah, no, it is. It is better. It is dramatically better. It's just, it requires patience. And it's like, there's, again, you're seeing guys come back from ACLs faster, guys from, other knee ligament tears faster. Whereas the Achilles is still taking you, the full boat is still taking you 9 to 12 months, more or less, to get back. And so, if you get it, your year's done. I know Rodgers tried to play last year or something. That was kind of a weird deal. But yeah, he's obviously, you haven't really noticed, in the sense that, all right, he's still 40-something years old. So like he doesn't move the way he used to anyway. But yeah, it is getting there faster. And the fact that Rodgers was even able to play again, tells you that there was some real progress there.
Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with us, talking all kinds of things right now, mainly the Pacers getting back on. Any changes coming up that you expect team personnel wise?
Well, then they're getting guys back. I mean, they got Neesmith back Saturday. They're probably getting Ben Shepherd back tonight. Isaiah Jackson's got a concussion. He won't be out for too long. It's just the two long-term injuries. Obi and Halliburton are, going to linger. Certainly Obi's going to be at least another month, apparently, maybe more. Who knows? As far as that's concerned, obviously Halliburton's done for the year, even though you're starting to see the progress there. So you're seeing bodies get back. I mean, they've there's going to be, I don't know what else there's going to be in terms of like back of the roster movement. They just signed, because of Jackson's concussion, they just signed Micah Potter. James Wiseman has, interesting scenario. He was on a 10-day, but like they didn't have a hardship exception for the full 10-day because they got it for the other guy they signed. So he picked up that exception, but they had to release him from the 10-day because they couldn't go over the roster limit anymore. So I don't know if they'll bring Wiseman back and cut Potter. I have no idea. It depends, I guess, what Potter does. And Potter's been, I think, pretty effective so far, but he's only played in, I think, 2 games. So we'll see what happens there as far as back of the roster. Bigger stuff. I mean, obviously, trade deadline is a little over a month away still. And, we'll see what they do. I mean, I think it's certain, there's been talk, the discussion around them is, okay, they're going to try to get their center of the future. And so there's only a couple guys that would qualify under that. It would be, just basically a high-level player that's not a max contract player, that's movable. And so you'd put Ivica Zubac in that category. Who else am I thinking? I guess you put Walker Kessler in that category, even though he's hurt. God, who am I forgetting? There's a couple other pieces on top of Zubac that you'd look at and say, okay, well, they could put together a package, for a player like that, and that'd be somebody they'd be able to obtain. And it's somebody who's young enough who's still going to be effective that you can kind of put on, Halliburton's timeline and pair him with Halliburton. Daniel Gafford's another name in Dallas is a guy they might look to. And so it's like, okay, that somebody who might be able to fit as a 5-man, because, even if they're going to get a top 5 pick, it's not, it was as good of a draft as it is. It's not a good center draft. There's certainly, DeBonsa and Peterson and, Cameron Boozer. I mean, I don't think Cameron Boozer is an NBA 5. Some people are talking on the internet like he could play the 5 in the NBA, and I don't think so. And I don't think he'd want to. I don't think he's, I think his skill set is too good for that. At the end of the day, like obviously centers are shooting threes now and stuff like that, but it's still a heavy, Cameron Boozer can handle in a ball screen. Whereas, at the 5, you're still in the NBA, you're still setting them for the most part, unless you're Wemby, which is a different story altogether. But I still think he's a 4-man in the NBA, and it creates an issue with Siakam. Maybe you can play both of those guys together, maybe you can't. We'll see. But one way or the other, you got to go down to, I think, Chris Sinak to get a center in this draft. And so if they're a top 5 pick, and certainly right now they have the worst record in the NBA, so you'd have to think that's where they're going to end up. Even if they don't get the lottery balls to go their way, I don't think they're going that far back. I don't think they're going to trade back, and I don't think they're going to take, I don't think Sinak's been at the level where you're like, okay, well, you're going to take a risk there where you might pass on a couple guys that are potentially really, potential all-stars. They're not, passing on AJ DeBonsa to go back and get Chris Sinak. But they do need a 5-man, so they might have to make a move. And, Benedict Matherin's been struggling, so maybe you could package him together and Jarris Walker and ship them both out and get a Zubac. So, could that happen? Maybe. I don't know if that's something, the Clippers would want. I don't know if Dallas wants to get rid of Gafford, stuff like that. I don't know if maybe the better option is to wait until July and, do a sign and trade with Matherin where you could kind of, put some more money on his deal where you can go up a level as far as the caliber of center you can get in terms of salary. Basically, if you can go after closer to a max deal type guy, if you put money on Mather and Steele. So, we'll see. There's certainly, some options long term and stuff like that. But as far as shorter term stuff, they're in trouble. So, short term, they're in trouble, but they're not in trouble because, at this point, they're in a big enough hole that, go for the draft pick at this point. I mean, I don't think they're going to actively tank, because I think if they actively tank, Pascal Siakam is going to punch somebody. But
well, they don't really have to. I mean, they're playing hard, but they just don't have what they need to have to be competitive on a night in, night out basis. So what they're doing is the right way to go about it, I guess, but they're still going to ultimately benefit, hopefully, from this by the end of things.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, even if I think they're going to win some games. They got Neesmith back. If Mathurin, I think, hasn't been fully healthy with his toe. He's played through it, but he's not been the same guy. Maybe you could get him back. And I think they need to win some games. I mean, they've been stuck at $9.99 for Rick Carlisle for like 3 weeks now. So they got to just get across that boundary, just win a game. They're at 8 in a row. So somebody's got to get that guy his 1,000th win at some point. I don't know when it's coming, because the schedule gets tough. I mean, they've got Houston tonight on the road, then they come back and they got Orlando on New Year's Eve, and then they got San Antonio, who might win the whole thing. And they go and then they go to Orlando, and then they get Cleveland before they finally go to Charlotte on January 8th. It's a game that you would think they could win, but then they've also lost the Wizards over this stretch of games. So, and the Pelicans. So, it's like, okay, that there's no guarantee they can be able to go into Charlotte and beat them. So at some point they got to get a win. Like they can't just straight lose out the rest of the way. They got to get some. But yeah, I mean, I have a hard time imagining they're going to win 25. Like that sounds like a number I'm not sure they can reach. And so if you're under 25, you're probably going to be okay as far as draft pick is concerned.
Yeah, so they'll be guaranteed to finish in probably the top 7 of the draft.
5, probably. Top 5. Yeah, I mean, I don't see, like I said, that's if they win 25, and again,
and that'll be the highest draft pick they have had. Ever?
No, since they got Rick Smits at 2, in 1988. So yeah, so that's the highest pick ever. I don't think they've ever had a number 1 overall. But they definitely had Smits at 2. They had George McLeod at 7 in 89, and then they got Mathurin at 6 a couple years ago in 02, and then Walker at 8 in 03. They had the 7th pick and traded one back to get a little ransom because the Wizards wanted Bilal Coulibaly, and people were making moves at him. So they paid a little bit of ransom to get that, and the Pacers moved back from 7 to 8 on draft day. But yeah, so they've had a couple top 10 picks since. But yeah, the last top 3 pick was Rick Smits.
The Dustin Dopirak from Indy Star, Pacers beat writer, with us right now. What kind of player we've had this discussion before, because knowing what they have, what they'll have coming back, you got Boozer, DeBonsa, Peterson, Wilson, those kind of guys that will be available. What kind of player do you think they'll be looking for, though?
I mean, I feel like if you're in the top 3, you've got to take one of those 3. They're in a weird position where what they need and what's there aren't the same. What they need is a 5-man. What they need is a 5-man that they can trust, that can step in and do some of the things that Miles Turner did and some of the things that he didn't do. You need better rebounding from that position. But I mean, I think what they had in Miles that really worked for Tyrese Halliburton was having a 3-level scorer, was having a guy that could hit shots from, that could go to the rim and score, that could hit from the free throw, foul line, mid-range area, and could hit threes. And that opened up a lot of the offense, where there's just all kinds of opportunity there. I mean, they could use, like in that case, they could use Pascal Siakam as a handler in the ball screen and also a screener where, they could use Miles Turner to space. I mean, like they had situations where it was a 1-4 ball screen with Halliburton and Siakam, and Turner would be spacing in the corner. And, when you could have that kind of 3-man game, it was fantastic. I mean, they were able to get a lot done with Siakam going downhill on ball screens, coming off of the screen. They were able to, then Turner was able to pick and pop, where Siakam would be the one who was spacing, and that would take defenders away from the middle. And just that whole dynamic opened up the floor so much. And that's what made, the Pacers, one of the things that made the Pacers such a difficult thing to deal with. So, they're fine if they've got kind of a more lob threat 5-man where, okay, he's going to screen and he's going to roll really, really hard, and you're going to throw up a lob, and he's, going to be a 6'10" to 7'2" type guy, and he's going to be able to get up and throw it down. That's fine. Zubac fits that. Gafford fits that. Guys who don't take any threes, that they'll be effective, but they'll be more effective if they could get somebody who could step out. And Jay Huff can step out. And so that's an option that they'll have off the bench if they do want somebody better in that starting role. But, if they would like somebody like that, but Sanak might be that kind of player, but he's going to be a while until he's NBA starter ready, from what I can sense. So I don't think they're going to take him in the top 4. I think if they're going to get a top 4 pick, they're going to get one of those guys and just say, okay, well, we're going to find a way to make this fit. If DeBonce is as good as he looks lately, then, he is kind of like the thing that goes back to Bobby Knight telling the executive from the Trailblazers, they drafted Sam Bowie. He's like, I needed a center. He's like, well, draft Jordan and play him at center. If DeBonce is that kind of player, you can't let him go. If you get number 1 overall, and DeBonce is clearly the guy, then he's clearly the guy. And Boozer might be a similar situation. The only thing I look at with Boozer and say, okay, is he just a poor man's Siakam? Not even poor. I don't think there's a huge difference, but and Siakam's got a 7'3" wingspan. Siakam's got stuff you can't teach, that's genetic. That he's made.
And he's also got experience, big time game experience.
And now he's got age is the flip side of that. You don't have him for, you don't know how much longer Siakam's going to be able to operate at this at this caliber. And so you do want to have something that's ready because, Halliburton has more years than Siakam does. And so you want to be able to keep this thing together and maintain some kind of window past the point where Siakam is no longer a dominant player. I mean, I think Siakam's got a longer shelf life than a lot of people. For one, he's a late bloomer. He was a guy that didn't even play until he was 17 or 18. I mean, he's got, he's playing a lot of 75 to 82 game seasons, but he's putting tread on the tires. He's only missed 1 game. They gave him 1 day off, and he probably needs another one. I was joking that they probably should, when they went to Miami, they should have just sent Siakam to South Beach, given him a couple Mai Tais and said, don't even ask how this game goes. Just you need to chill out. Just you go hang out. Don't even, go have a good time, enjoy yourself, relax. We'll play this game. We won't even tell you what happens. Just don't even worry about it. But he's got, he's durable for a guy who's built like he's built. For a guy that's big, long, lanky, a lot of arms and legs, that tends to wear you down, and it hasn't worn him down. I'm very impressed with what he is as an athlete. So, there's probably 4 or 5 more years left of really good Pascal Siakam left, but there's more in a guy like Cameron Boozer. Certainly there's a whole career there. I don't think, I think there's things that Siakam has that he cannot develop. He can't get a 7'3" wingspan, that's something that's not normal. But I think Cameron Boozer would be a really, really good NBA player. And so it's do you play those guys together? Or do you just say, okay, well, I'm just going to load up on wings and they're going to be fine. You could. So, we'll see what all that looks like. But they're in a position where if you're taking top 5, you can't miss. That's the most important thing. You cannot miss, even if you get a guy who doesn't necessarily fit exactly what you want. You got to, that has to become an asset for you, even if that player doesn't fit, is redundant with what you have. You can't leave one of the great players on the board to get somebody that fits need better. You can't go as far back as they would have to go to make a need-based pick. Where if they're top 3, if they're top 4, they've got to get one of those guys. They're not going to draft was McKeel Brown from Louisville. They're not drafting a point guard.
Right.
Is all basically they'll leave one of those on the board. But those 3 wingish, Peterson, DeBonce, Boozer. If one of those guys is on the board when they're there, they're picking them unless somebody else emerges that belongs in that in that sphere, in that tier, then those would be the guys they would pick if they would be that high.
Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with me, Jim Coyle. We're back with more right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, FreeThink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. FreeThink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what FreeThink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Monday. Glad to have you along. Jim Coyle with you as always, and our good friend Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with us. Dustin, normally this time of year, we're deep into Indiana basketball, and what the goings on is they are about to get back to Big Ten play, but Indiana football sticking a rag in that, and their season is can't say far from over, as they have the opportunity to extend it further out, as they are in Pasadena now, prepping for the Rose Bowl coming up this Thursday on the January 1st, in a quarterfinal CFP game versus Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. No one ever thought that anyone would be saying those words, but we're well past that. They've got the Heisman Trophy stored away now. They've got the number 1 ranking stored away, number 1 in the AP. They're Big Ten champs. I mean, theoretically, they could stop, and this would be a storybook season right now. But
sure,
ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody got time for that crap, baby. National championship is a definitive possibility for this team, and it's just nuts. Even someone that's covered it and watched it and saw it from the beginning, it's still nuts, because I just cannot put into, earlier Don was on, and there was a graph that someone made last week that showed of the teams in the CFP, all 12, the talent level far as rankings, 3 stars, 5 stars, 4 stars.
Yeah.
Indiana's got 0 5 stars.
Yeah.
I think it has 7 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And the bulk of their roster is made up of guys that are 3 stars and below.
Yeah.
Down to no stars. The teams like Alabama, Michigan, or Ohio State, they've got they've got more 5 stars than Indiana has 4 stars. And then, the numbers are crazy, but all of that's out the window, but it shows a talent. If people don't see anything else, they have to understand there is a great talent disparity. And a lot of that comes in the lines and whatnot, and the depth of those teams.
Yeah, well, I mean, but again, it comes back to, like, the difference is that a lot of the guys that, some of those guys certainly were recruited when they were high school kids and when you were talking about stars, but a not small number of IU's players were recruited past the point where you had to deal with stars. They were grown-ups, when they joined Indiana. And that's why they are where they are. The portal is different, like I don't want to say that stars go out the window. I mean, stars do matter in a manner of speaking, in the sense that if you like long term, like there are going to be guys who wash out and there are going to be guys 0 stars who turn into something entirely different. But generally, if your overall average rating is going to tell you pretty much where your talent level is, it does hold up, like there's a reason why the Ohio States and the Michigans and the Alabamas and everything like that. That's why they hold up again, like over, bigger sample size, you know what I mean? Like obviously there are some guys who get stars just because they signed with a big program. They're like, we never heard of this guy, but we better give him 3 stars because he's going to Alabama. Like that's definitely a thing that happens. And if you know anything about how, how hard it is to cover recruiting for those jobs, I mean, you've been a part of that. That's hard. It's really, really hard.
Because it's so subjective.
It's so subjective, and there are so many people, and it's like, okay, like how are you really, you're just, I mean, they're just having a database is like the best thing going, it's helpful to be able to look back at that. But bottom line, this stuff ends up shaking out. But the flip side of it is that when you put these people in college programs, in college weightlifting programs, and just in college life, like there's a separator. And the guys that IU has brought in were guys that had already proven they could do it. And that's the difference, is that and that's why this is happening now and it didn't happen before, is that you had a coach, not to downgrade what Cignetti's done in and of itself, but Kevin Wilson couldn't bring half of Oklahoma to Indiana, like or even Tulsa. Like, I mean, if you imagine a scenario where he went to Tulsa first, it's not like he could have brought, even at that time, he couldn't have brought everybody he liked at Tulsa to Indiana if he wanted to, whereas Cignetti could say, like, all right, you guys at JMU, you 12, 15 guys, like you're 20 or 25 or whatever it was, I think you guys belong in the Big Ten. You coming with me? And by that time he'd seen them enough times. He had a sense of who could really do it, who had physically developed, all that kinds of stuff. And that's the difference, is your D'Angelo Ponds, your, Alden Fishers, guys like that had proven it. And, he knew basically they were going to be that type of guy. And you do see the separation over the course of a college career, because they turned in from boys to grownups. And, and by the time they're juniors and seniors, who's going to operate like a grown up and who isn't. And so, like, that's the difference, is that they belong there. They're in there because, some of those guys at the Alabamas, the Oklahomas, some of them are still puppies. Some of them are still young. And, it's obviously some of them are turning into NFL players, but, Indiana's in that group because it brought a lot of guys from the portal that had already proven wherever they were, whether it was James Madison or somewhere else, that they were going to develop in ways that some other guys that might be ranked higher have not.
Yeah, development has certainly been the key to this Indiana program, but also the coaching
for sure.
That is continuity has been crazy. Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star with us, but yeah, the continuity that has been above and beyond. I think what people are not getting, and their ability to successfully coach and develop program this talent, and to do it together the way they have. It's not accidental, but
no,
man. Now we've got the game coming up, man. Indiana and Alabama. The weather, Dustin, is going to be an issue, as it's going to be wet in SoCal.
Rain. I've never even seen rain in Pasadena. What does that even mean?
It's going to rain the day before, the day of, and the day after.
No, that's not supposed to happen. That's this whole thing. The whole reason we have this thing, that we've pinned the entire playoff system on the Rose Bowl is so that at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, it's gorgeous in Pasadena. It is knock your socks off pretty with sunshine and the sun setting over the mountains. What do you mean it's going to be cold and rainy and wet? That's not allowed. Is it even allowed? It's not allowed to rain in Pasadena. Like, come on.
It's
what are we doing?
It's going to be a high of 58 degrees that day.
No, that's not legal. We gotta run this up to a manager someplace. This has got
the craziest thing is Indiana football could have practiced outside yesterday. I did see I was out watching Indiana practice yesterday at an open practice before they left, but they did move it inside just because of the wind. But they still would have been in warmer temperatures had they been outside than they will be in Southern California and Los Angeles. That's mind-boggling.
But that is definitely not the case today.
No.
Well, that was the case yesterday. It's not the case today.
That's a fact.
Technically, they were better off yesterday in Indiana, but today they're definitely better off in Southern California.
I just wonder, with that expected, how that's going to impact the game. Indiana, of course, has had a very, the thing about what makes them one of the best teams in the country is the balance they have on both sides of the ball. They're able to throw the ball as equally as they can run it. Alabama has not had that.
As well as they can stop the pass.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, they are perfectly well built for, any type of weather issue. I mean, because it's not a team that's just like a fast track team that, oh man, if you take away the passing game, what are they going to do? They've been able to run the ball fantastically well, and they're just really set up in both trenches. I think, in terms of the history of this thing, in terms of like watching what this has become, I think you and I would agree that the fact that they're so good up front on both sides is the most dramatic difference that we've seen. Like when Indiana's had some really good skill position players in the past, even had some good, kind of back 7, back 8, defenses. And it's just up front, they've just never had the depth. They might have had a guy, they might have had 2 guys, a good offensive lineman, a couple good offensive linemen, but there's rarely been this where they can get some guys hurt and they'd still be awesome up front. On both lines. I mean, defensive line is out of hand good and offensive line is fantastic. And so it's like, yeah, if this has to be a trench game, then they can win that against Alabama. And that's like, that's the thing I wouldn't even imagine. I mean, like 7-8 years ago, it's like if you put if you put them up against Alabama, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm not even sure you're allowed to play that game. Like that's not even fair. But now you're like, okay, like they're probably the stronger team up front on both sides. They're almost definitely the stronger team up front on both sides. It's incredible.
It's mind-boggling because, again, Alabama is one of those teams that gets
everybody.
That list of players.
Yeah,
that
you can get whoever you want. I mean, obviously, as DeBoer's faced criticism. I think he's been fine. He's not Nick Saban, and nobody is. So there is still the difference of like, okay, like you're not getting the Saban level, top 5 class every single year, like churning out 10, 15 NFL players a team sort of thing. It's not quite been at that level yet. He's got to, get sort of a foundation there. But it's still Alabama, like there are still guys down south still want to wear that A. I mean, they just do. It's just, so they've got dudes but it's just, Indiana's probably stronger up front on both sides. In fact, they're almost definitely stronger on both sides. That's almost no doubt about it.
And it's almost impossible to say that. It's almost impossible for that to be the case.
But it is. It's wild.
But it is. And it is. And for different reasons. It's not because that talent was looked to be that good at the beginning. Part of it is that talent development that I spoke of, and part of it is just sheer determination. Some of these guys are not supposed to be this good. Aiden Fischer is probably not supposed to be as good as he has been. Kamara, the guys that came from JMU, they're not supposed to be all Big Ten, all Americans, but they have become that.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, when you get time, again, like you like it's, I mean, football is just one of those games that's weird. Again, like the bigger sample size, you want higher rated players, at the end of the day, like they'll probably turn out. But, like it's not a situation where like in basketball, it's like you're going to have a pretty good sense of where the guys are going to be just because how the bodies get built. You know what I mean? Like not everybody gets to be 7 foot, like Victor Wembanyama is there aren't other guys that are 7'5" that, you know, can dribble between their legs and pop back and fade away and shoot threes. You know, there's just a hand, you know, he's probably the only human being on earth who can do that. And so like basketball kind of separates itself that way, you know, where there's a handful of guys that are genetic freaks and they're just capable of being above and beyond, where, you know, football, like, you know, everybody's kind of in a certain realm, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like, there's not a lot of guys that are taller than 6'5", you know, there's not a lot of guys who are shorter than 6 foot, you know, like they're sort of in a pocket, and it's sort of, everybody is sort of developing within that pocket. And so like guys can get bigger, get stronger, you know, develop in that 18 to 22 age range where, you know, they're way different than they were when they came in. And, you know, that they're a wholly different mound of clay when they leave at 22 than they were when they got there at 18. You know, it's like, it's there. So there's a capability of guys making leaps. And like, again, you're really seeing that. I mean, you wonder like how different it would be if you always gave guys who got to be high level in the Sun Belt or the MAC or whatever a chance to go play in the Big Ten when they were juniors and seniors, you know, what that would have looked like if all those guys got a shot. Because, you know, I mean, like you've seen a ton of players come, you know, NFL players come out of the MAC. Like, I mean, you know, like Dylan McCullough, who we covered as a running back coach, obviously was an NFL running back, came out of Miami, Ohio. You know, like you've had that throughout the years. Those guys just never got a chance to elevate within college, you know, like now they do. And so like now you see it. And so like you're seeing that they're, you know, if 3 good years at a small school, you can turn yourself into something that nobody at the highest level really wanted, but they probably didn't even, you know, there probably wasn't that big of a difference, you know, at the end of the day. Like, you know, it's like, how much slower were you? How much smaller were you? You know, like you can make up for that. And these guys have.
Sir have. Dustin Dopirak from the Indy Star. Make sure you're giving him a follow. Appreciate you, my friend, as always.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jim. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy Pasadena.
Stay warm, brother. Stay warm.
That's not, well, I will. I'll stay inside until I have to go shovel things.
I've got to stay dry.
Yeah. Good luck.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got more coming up. We're back with it right after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right. No payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing, or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition, or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Your hand to ask a question using the raise hand icon within Zoom. If and when your question is selected, please unmute your microphone and state your name and media outlet before asking your question. Once your question has been answered, your microphone will be muted and your hand will be lowered. Our first question comes from Nicole Auerbach.
Hey, Kaylin, it's Nicole Auerbach from NBC Sports. I wanted to ask, just with you and Curt Cignetti in this matchup, got me thinking about just the unique paths that you both took to become head coaches at places like Alabama and Indiana. And I wonder how your path and all the different stops and all the levels of college football helped prepare you to lead a program at the highest level with all that's changing in college football today?
Yeah, just knowing Coach Signetti and you referred to it, his path, nothing but respect. Again, how he's done it, how he's gotten to this spot. A lot of work goes into it. I think coming back to your question, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think there's things that you do that give you an appreciation for the moment you're in, having an opportunity to be here at Alabama. But I also think there's moments that you go through. I mean, with the playoffs the way they are, and us having to go 4 rounds, been through that many, many years, whether it was as an assistant or as a head coach, going back to Sioux Falls days. And then I think building a staff and, having the network and the contacts has helped me surround people with a lot of knowledge, but also the right type of people to help lead you, especially in today's day and age of college football and building a team. And, I think all of it goes into just being built for these moments that come. But I've been really blessed. I've been blessed to be around a lot of great coaches who have mentored me along the way, that I've taken things from to be able to be successful in the moments that we're in now.
There's Kalen DeBoer, the former offensive coordinator for Indiana and current head coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They'll take on the Hoosiers in a few days on Thursday out in Pasadena, California, in the Rose Bowl and the semifinals of the college football playoffs. The winner of that game in particular, move on to Atlanta to play in the Peach Bowl and the CFP semifinal. See if Indiana can get this done. They were in the Rose Bowl one time before, back in 1967. Was it 67 or was it actually 68 that they were in the Rose Bowl? I keep getting that confused. I think it was the 67 season, but lost to USC 14-3. O.J. Simpson and USC 14-3. But the Hoosiers are actually favored in this game. They're also the number 1 team in the country. It's amazing. Elijah Surratt, one of the main weapons on this Indiana offense, he's ready as well.
Have you seen, when you've kind of watched film of this Alabama secondary, obviously our pass defense is excellent numbers this season.
Yeah.
What do they do well, and what do you got to kind of be focused on here going into this week?
Yeah, they're great defense totally, but they got some experienced guys back there. They like to play a lot of zone, but last week they mixed it up played a little bit more man against Oklahoma, so we'll see what they do against us. But it's an exciting challenge going against a group like that. I know they're great. I know they fly around. They run through the ball. The D lines are great. Linebackers are great. So it's going to be an exciting challenge for us, but we're ready.
That was Elijah Surratt, one of the weapons on the Indiana offense that Fernando Mendoza has found quite often this season. Of course, he missed some games with a little hamstring injury, but it seems to be most everybody else, Indiana is pretty healthy going into this game, save for the guys that they have lost for the year. Lee Beebe at the running back, Kellen Wyatt on the defensive line, and his replacement, unfortunately, as well. So, but Indiana looking pretty good on the offensive side. I think they're as healthy as they have been all season. Well, since the beginning of the season, I guess that is. But they're looking pretty good there, and pretty much on the defensive side, like I said, except for the guys they have lost for the year. Some of those guys will be coming back. Some of them will not be. What's it going to be like out in SoCal? But obviously, it's looking like it's going to be a wet Rose Bowl. I hate that for the many, many fans that are going out and we're wanting and expecting to be embraced by this normally beautiful Southern California weather. Of the times that I've been to LA, I've never seen it rain, ever. That will be a first, and I will see nothing but rain because I get in on the 31st and back out. But that's going to be not fun. Like I said, I just hope it does not impact the game too much. Obviously, it's going to. The biggest thing that comes to mind is taking care of the ball. That is going to be of huge importance for both teams. But you've got to hold on to the pill, baby.
You cannot put that thing on the ground. That's something Indiana has been very successful at this year, not doing that and taking it away from the other team. They are one of the leaders, if not the leader in the country, in turnover margins still. I know they were, and that's something that they have prided themselves on, but you've got to keep that up, because that's one of those things that can rear its ugly head at the worst moment and just wreck everything. What's it going to be like for this offense? They're going to be in a situation that we haven't seen them in. We know it's going to be bad weather. How will Curt Cignetti and Mike Shanahan adjust what they do? How much will they have to adjust what they do? Alabama is not the secondary is not their strong suit, defending the pass. So normally that would give Indiana some benefits, but maybe not in the rain. We'll have to see. But I think it's still going to work out for the Hoosiers. I think that they move on to get to play in Atlanta and in an environment that will definitely be dry, because it will be inside the dome before the national championship game, which is in Miami. But it is going to be a fun time no matter what. Indiana fans should enjoy this. Take it in. It is the 14th game of the season for this Indiana football team. 14th game, people, and they've yet to lose. That's crazy talk right there. Crazy, but it is all good. How far can these Hoosiers go? Can they win the national championship? They're definitely capable of doing it. But they're going to have to beat 3 magnificent teams. They're going to have to beat Alabama. Then they're going to have to beat either Oregon or Texas Tech. Then they're going to have to beat either probably Georgia or Ohio State again. My, oh my. If they could do that, that might be, it's definitely one of, but it would, without question, to me, be the greatest story in the history of college football. They've already been writing that story in many different chapters, but to do it, to finish it out, to go all the way, there's nothing. I don't know that you could ever compare that, because of how tough football is, how hard it is to compete against these teams that are these blue bloods that are so far ahead, recruiting wise, money wise, NIL wise. It's still mind boggling that they're here. So enjoy the heck out of it, people. Enjoy it no matter what, because it is sensational that they have gotten to this point. It's magical. What a magical run. And let's just hope that it continues. And I don't see why it shouldn't, but it's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, Alabama is good. Don't think otherwise. They're a team that doesn't give up. It's going to be a battle in the second half. A battle. Enjoy it. Appreciate you. Thanks a lot for joining us on this day. We're back tomorrow to do it again. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.